So, as Martin Tyler would say on Sky Sports, we are officially live. So, ShaymenStats, Luke, how are you doing at the minute?
Yeah, I'm good, Luke. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing good. How are you, ShaymenStats?
Yeah, I'm also good today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good.
Got
Obviously,
FA Cup
been
fever.
busy. Pardon?
FA Cup fever for Saturday.
Yeah, I'm not, to be honest, I'm not very pumped up for it because I think if we win that, we could get someone big, and obviously that brings a lot of money into the club. Before we go any further, though, I do have a bit of supporters club information that I need to read out to you. Obviously, Rob hasn't joined us tonight, so I'll have to do that. But we're setting up a stall on Saturday from 2 p.m. till 2:45. We'll be selling match programmes, we'll be selling team sheets, we'll be selling loads of supporters club merchandise, some biographies. There's loads of things that you can purchase. So why don't you come down and try get involved? But that's more or less it from the supporters. So why don't we get straight on to the podcast? So 4 points from 2 games, not bad. What are you two's opinions on that?
We just certainly took 4 points.
Yeah.
Before a ball were kicked. I think it's a very, very solid 4 points.
Yeah.
We were made to work very hard against Dagenham, very, very hard. Ground out that win. First time I think this season I've seen us sort of have to grind out a win more than anything else. I mean, now we've won we've had 7 or 8 home games and we've won all 7 and lost 1, which were your opening day against Maidenhead. So as home form, absolutely superb at the moment.
Yeah, it has been, and I think that's the good thing because I see it as if at home you need to win your games, and then anything away from home's a bonus. So taking a point against Bromley, I think that was a crucial point because it keeps them, arm's length with us without allowing them to sort of create a mini gap. What's your thoughts on it, Luke?
Yeah, definitely. I think they're unlucky not to get anything from Solihull. I think it's very similar to the Bromley game and very similar to Dagenham Red game. It seems that it just one chance either way could have decided it. I think that the season now, we're nearly quarter way through, and there's a lot of teams that we can mix it with. Like there's no one to be scared of really. We've already beaten some of the biggest fancy teams, the high budget teams.
Yeah,
definitely not getting outplayed or outclassed by the teams that in and around us. And we're seeing off pretty comfortably, your likes of Weymouth and clubs like that are down the bottom. So that's a pretty good recipe for a long-term push in the upper echelons of the top half at least, and pushing towards the playoffs. So
they're the games that you need to win out. They're the ones who, teams at the bottom, and then at the top you need to be taking points off them just to keep them at arm's length with you. The Dagenham game, I thought we probably should have won by more, but to be honest, I don't really care, to be honest, at the minute, because a win's a win, and I couldn't care if we win 3-0 or if we win 1-0. It's a win. So I'm happy with that. Yes, so that more or less wraps it up for Dagenham. So we move on to a bit of league, in a whole of the league at the minute, because a lot has happened over the last week or so. Grimsby were top not long ago, and now somehow Bournemouth are now top, and they're thinking they're going to go on and get to the Football League. I think the Shaymen will catch you at some point, but hopefully, fingers crossed. We've got, Grimsby have slipped off. Bromley, they're starting to get a little better, aren't they now? They're starting to pick up even more. They're unbeaten, I think, in 9, or is it even 10 now? It might even be 10, and they won quite a few games on the bounce. And obviously, Dave Shannon has left Hartlepool when Hartlepool were in a very comfortable position, and he's dropped down a league to join Stockport. If anyone in the chat has any opinions on that, please leave them below. But firstly, what are your two's opinions?
Yeah, I just saw Dave Challoner's record on a post on Twitter just this afternoon, and it is probably the best in non-league really, like at Fylde, and then bringing Hartlepool up 4 promotions in 5 years, 6 years, whatever it is. Young manager. To be fair, just glad that Stockport have kept the sticky fingers off Pete for the time being. That was the main thing. But obviously, Stockport have gone through a really, really bad spell. Obviously, lots of hype around Wrexham and the owners being in town for the Maidenhead game last week.
I forgot about that.
Circus around that, but the results, the night we beat Dagenham Red, there was cool results across all those high fancy teams. So I think Challoner's going to improve Stockport. But there's no surefire guarantee to success.
Dave Cheltenham is a former Stockport player as well. Just to add, he's actually played for Stockport.
Oh, yeah, that's why they were saying welcome back. Yeah, to be honest, I was a little shocked because I thought, Dave Cheltenham. I know a lot of Hartlepool pages out there, and they've put a lot on, because in my opinion, Hartlepool fans this season have been some of the best fans in the Football League, even with the attendances. They have like monkey hangers and loads of like banners, and it's great to see quite a well-connected club with the players and Dave Cheltenham. So it was quite sudden that he'd just leave like that. But they are doing well, to be honest. They won against Everton under 23s yesterday, so it's not going too bad for them. But yeah, it's a bit of a shock in my opinion. Obviously, I know he was one of the favourites, but when someone's so comfortable at a club to just leave like that, and I think it's down to money in the end. What are your two opinions on that?
I mean, he did sort of leave for the money. I know Jeff Stelling alluded to that in his tweet that's been doing the rounds. And he said he's one of Hartlepool's greatest ever managers, even after whatever it were, one season, 1.5 seasons. I mean, it's no secret that Stockport are backed by a wealthy owner, and he's gone out and bought, or essentially he's acquired one of the best non-league managers to the club. Yeah. Dave Challoner obviously feels going to Stockport, not only will he get them promoted, he's gone there for them to overtake Hartlepool in theory.
Yeah, I think managers at our level have got to be pragmatic in the decisions. Like it's not about just the fact, Hartlepool are in League Two, Stockport are in the National League. It's all about the potential and what they see as the long-term vision. You see Steve Bruce leaving Newcastle in the last 2 weeks and getting your $7 million payoff. It's not like that in non-league. All it would take is Dave Challoner, a couple of bad results, gets fired by Hartlepool, and suddenly you're back at the struggling for a job and to get back on the ladder again. So again, to bring it back to Pete Wild, we hope that he's got he's bought into the vision and he's got a long-term plan for town. But you can't. It's for football reasons, it's for personal reasons, and family reasons. It's all kinds of things at this level where managers make these decisions. So I think money's a factor, but it's the long-term vision of the club that we're moving to.
Yeah. Now currently Stockport sit 9th, and the last couple of games, obviously they beat Dover. Prior to him being sacked, the Stockport manager, they lost to Barnet, and obviously Barnet are low down the league, so that's quite a poor result, losing to Notts County. They beat Aldershot, beat Weymouth, beat Wrexham, and then it was against us where they lost 3-0. I was a little surprised. I thought maybe it was a little harsh in a way. I know they're 9th in the league, and the money that they've spent, they should be at least. Some may say they should really win the league besides Wrexham. But I'm a little surprised by him departure in Stockport. But anyway, already we've got something in the chat. It is, I'll put it on the screen now. It's from Bob Taylor. Really like Halifax. Good to see the little team punching above their weight. Good luck for the season. Thank you to whoever sent that in. Yes, hopefully we are punching above our weight, and hopefully we can try get into the Football League. Now I'm just going to ask you both: did any of you do your mini predictions at the start of the season? Who you thought might go up?
I mean, I went for one of Wrexham, Stockport, or Notts County. I mean, it was pretty boring that way. Your Stockports and your Wrexhams, where 6, 7, maybe even 8 points clear. I haven't just checked the table actually recently, but I know we've got a good cushion on them. But I still think it goes back to what we discussed when I was previously on. It's how town come through this festive period into New Year now. Because this is where your Wrexhams and your Stockports, etc., will start rotating, and they've got quality to come in. That's not saying we don't, but they essentially could field 2 squads in one day. They've got big squads, and this is where it'll show. Even your Chesterfield. I mean, Chesterfield, what, 2nd, 3rd. This is, I think, over the festive period, this will make or break all of their seasons. They're either going to kick on, or they're going to stagnate almost. I mean, it's still 2 spots for potentially the 6, 7, 8
even more
very wealthy teams in this league. There's only 2 can go up.
Yeah, and we've been seemingly been here every season for the last 3 or 4 seasons, starting like a house on fire, getting a great cushion, which is brilliant, and everyone's in a really great mood, and then kind of off on the ropes a little over Christmas, picking up some points, but then 1 or 2 kind of key injuries in key places, and that just knocks the momentum, and then it's felt like running on fumes really towards the back end. And again, that's no one's fault in the club with the budget and the size of the squad that obviously Pete this season's got available. But I think everyone has got to think there's more players that can play more positions this season. It seems that when someone gets injured, someone else can fill in. Billy Waters hasn't scored in 5-6 games now. We haven't struggled with some, who saw Keegan Green popping up with a bullet header against Dagon Red. Like, that's what we need when your key players, if you're injured or off form or not firing, you need support around them. And I think now more than ever, we've got a squad that can do that. So I think we should be confident still.
Yeah, players around the squad do really need to, pick it up when Billy Waters isn't scoring, which they have done, to be honest. And yeah, Bromley away. Obviously, we didn't score, but to be honest, I don't really care. It's a good point away from home, and to keep a clean sheet against an on-form Bromley, well, that's brilliant. Yeah. And also keeping a clean sheet against Dagenham, who were prior to the match at the highest goal scorers in the league.
When Bromley's Michael Cheek puts a penalty against the post, you know that Lady Lip's been on your side. He's consistently the top scorer. He's in the top 2 or 3 every season. I think he was the top scorer last season. So when he puts a penalty onto the post, you know that you've just got that little bit of luck on your side.
Yeah, I think with what Pete Wells shown this season as well, like he's not switching from just one system to another game to game. Like, he's got a vision. He knows he's got the players drilled and what they have to do. Yeah. And you're not going to win every game that way. There's going to be some teams that are just better than you on the night. Yeah. But I think over the course of the season, having that style, picking your battles means you're gonna win more than you lose. And hopefully that'll translate to the cup as well on Saturday.
Yeah,
sorry, Luke. I'm going to cut you off. Wild on Saturday had the luxury of naming for the fourth game in a row an unchanged team. The only thing that sort of switched around 1 or 2 positions on the bench has been able to name the same 11 4 games running now. Just paid dividend.
Luxury.
I don't actually think we've been outclassed in any game this season, even the games we've lost. I think how we've come on since that Maidenhead game, and even when we were beating sides like Altrincham to now, we're a comfortable side, and I think you can see that the sides are playing well together, where maybe it was a new team coming in. A lot of players obviously have been out of contract and now injured, so it might have been a little unfit, and now they've got the fitness up. We're pushing at the right end of the table, and for the past 3-4 years, we've always been near the top of the league at the start of the season. And I'm just hoping this season Pete Wells got a plan over the festive period to try just keep us up there, so we don't start slipping down the table. Because when that happens, there's no way back. Because the momentum, you just lose it, don't you? And yeah, some very good results at the minute, but we've got some important games coming up after the FA Cup. A little bit more about the league now. Now, obviously, Wrexham, and there were Ryan Reynolds obviously at the game. What are you two's opinions on that?
I thought it were hilarious that lost at Maidenhead while they were there, to be honest.
What, 2 big celebrities going to Maidenhead down south and then end up losing in that fashion as well?
So it's a real warm welcome to non-league football, that, for them too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I mean, Wrexham are pulling 9,000 plus now. They're on the crest of a wave, it's... Yeah. I wish it were us.
Yeah, I do. But yeah, obviously Wrexham, they are well supported, which they should be, to be honest. There's no other sides around there, is there really? Around Wrexham, it's the only side in North Wales, I think, that's full time. And they're getting like 8,000-9,000 a match, which it's good for them. But to be honest, I won't praise them because they shouldn't be in this league in the first place, to be totally honest. But I think some credit's got to go to Torquay, taking 200 and odd to Wrexham so far. Now that is something to go support.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's ultimately it is good for the league. Like, who in North America would ever even know what Wrexham is or what the National League is? Like, it has shone a spotlight on the division, and it makes it even funnier for fans in the league that when they lose, the reaction is the way it is. Yeah. It's in some ways it's better. I'd rather celebrities and movie stars are investing rather than oppressive regimes and stuff like that. It's probably slightly easy to take. But yeah, maybe we'll get Will Ferrell or Paul Rudd or someone to invest in us, and we'll have the National Celebrity League for next season.
Yeah, it's good to have celebrities. Obviously, it ups the the knowledge around the league. Everyone's starting to know about the National League now. It's the fifth tier of English football, and you've got sides having 5,000 to 10,000 fans a match, which it's mental, isn't it, for fifth tier football? But I'm happy with Halifax at the minute, and I think credit has to go to the Halifax fans that made the journey to Bromley. Now, 121 fans all the way to Bromley. I think that's pretty impressive, if you ask me.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think a coach went and so that is anything over 100. I think going down to these London games, especially after there's been a few down there, hasn't there, already this year? So it's going to start getting colder and wetter and windier. But full credit to all the travelling Blue Army. I think it's definitely going to help the team on the pitch. Yeah,
I think credit does have to go to them fans. Obviously, Mark Shaw getting dressed up for that again. Making a lot of noise. It's great to have fans like that at the club, like he was against Solihull. But yeah, it is going well at the minute, and obviously you can see that it is because Wokin's even closer, and we took 71 there, and then we went to Bromley and we took over another 50. So it's 121. So big upgrade from the Woking game. And I think it's good to see now. Personally, I feel most games we should be aiming for 100, apart from games all the way down south, like Dover. I don't think even Stockport take many, there, and Wrexham, they don't even take many there. I don't think many sides would. So I think games in the London sides, like South London, I think it's good to try and get 100 fans at least there, which is good. And obviously obviously you've got the big games like your Chesterfields and Grimsby's, where you wanted to take about 500-600 there, which is brilliant for us, and create an atmosphere, which we do for fifth tier football. I think a lot of credit does have to go to Halifax fans. Obviously, we don't get the highest attendances in the league, but we do make a lot of noise, and we do take quite a lot away from home to places like Bromley, and then obviously closer we take quite a lot as well, like Altrincham away as well. We'll take 600 there, which is very good at the minute. We've got another one in the chat, and it's favourite player. Do you all have a favourite player?
Of all time or in the current squad?
Well, if he's still in the chat, I'll ask him, but I'll say current for now. Oh, actually, no, we'll go, because ShaymenStats is here, we'll say everyone's all time.
That's even harder, though. That's a bigger question.
Yeah, it's one of the hardest questions you could ask me, really, about favourite all-time player. In the past, and I will stick with this, I'm going to give it Adam Quinn, because he came into the club. We'd just been next season, it'll be 20 years ago. He came into the team. We were in administration. We've been relegated back down to the fifth tier for the second time, and he was just an ever-present in that Chris Wilder side.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the only reason really that he was my favourite player. He weren't exactly the most skillful player, or he was good, but it weren't as if he was like particularly exceptional. But he was just consistent throughout that period. So that's the only reason I picked him. I mean, it'd be easy to pick Vardy, Horsfield, maybe even Gregory, further back like Ketty or Rick Holden. But I'd give it Quinny in my lifetime.
That generation was a different breed of centre backs to now. Like now, you've got to be physical, fast, good on your feet, good with your feet, with both feet. Quinn, he could head a breeze block probably over the crossbar. But not the fastest, but definitely.
But then he played against a ball playing centre half who had more mobility, somebody like an Ingram or Greg Young. He didn't have his shoulder injury, so he did have pace around him. He was just an out and out, like you say, like the centre back. Sorry, just made of brick, made of iron, whatever you want to, whatever superlative you want to use. I really like him.
Well, I'm a similar generation to ShaymenStats, really. So that Wilder team for me was when I started going down the Shay properly. So Craig Midgley was kind of again not a fashionable winger, or not the fastest, not the strongest, but he kind of added a little bit of playmaker style spark to that Wilder team when there was a lot of hard men like Steve Bushell and Quinn and players like that, Steve Haslam around. And another player, I think you interviewed him a few weeks ago, Danny Forrest.
I interviewed him. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really good interview of him. So he came through at Bradford and spent a lot of time at Halifax. So that was from that era. And then I think after the reformation, I'd probably say Tom Baker. Was really just the linchpin of everything that was good about that time. So again, Scott McManus, all these players are also in the Hall of Fame since we reformed. But I think Baker was the unheralded hero that was in the middle of the park during.
You were the first legend of the FC Halifax Town period.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably followed. I mean, we could just name everybody in that team. I'd say followed closely by Scott Phelan, even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you could name anybody in that team.
To be honest, when I look at Tom Baker, he's a bit of an inspiration in the way. Obviously, I didn't see him because I was a bit too young then. I went to a couple of 2 games back then, but I didn't really realise it. But yeah, similar, he's a bit of an inspiration for me because he plays in that central midfield role, and he was quite small. And I play in that position. I'm very small, so someone that I sort of look up to, looking back now. But yeah, I think if there was one player for me, I'd have to give it Matty Brown just because he gave me his shirt, and he had such a close relationship with the club. I did an interview with him a couple of weeks ago, and he said he didn't want to leave, and he was close with the fans, and that's great to see. And I think players like that, they're my favourite players. I don't like players that come on loan. They might score an hat-trick one week, and then next week they're off on the jollies to Stockport. I prefer players who care about the club and give it their all into the club, and I think that's someone that I've got to think. But looking on previous players who I didn't get to see, obviously Vardy would be one of them, Jeff Horsfield, Jamie Patterson. Yeah, but I think Tommy Baker, and I think even moving back to the likes of Scott McManus, obviously I did get to see him play, but, obviously what he did at Wembley, it's something else that in that fashion, I think he's got to get a mention. But anyway, he has actually said it's the squad, so just say one name that player who's your favourite at the minute.
Jordan Slew.
Jordan Slew. Who do you
Jordan
have?
Slew, that's it. Yeah.
Who do you have, Luke?
Get on the spot, but I'd probably say Sam Johnson. I think a lot of it's like without him, I don't think a lot of what's good has happened in the last few years would have happened. A lot of clubs chop and change goalkeepers, but I don't think we've had whoever has come in and out of defence, knowing that you've got a giant behind you that doesn't really make mistakes, good distribution, 8 out of 10 at everything. I think we've been absolutely blessed that a bigger club haven't come in for him. So yeah, I think that
he's 10 off 100 clean sheets.
Is it?
Yeah.
He's on like 90, 91 at the minute. Yeah.
Give Sam some more love because that's really, really, really lucky to have him in the squad.
Yeah.
To be honest,
sorry for anyone that comes in on loan because they never get a game.
To be honest, if I'm totally honest, I think most players I like every single player in the squad at the minute. I couldn't say one name. I wouldn't name it anyway, but there ain't one name that I particularly think, he's a little dodgy. Obviously, moving back a bit now, obviously, he don't play for us anymore, but it's like when we had players like Charlie Cooper and players like that who obviously, came to this club with like high reputation, but he wasn't really a fan's favourite, and I don't think we've got anyone like him now in the squad.
It's important not to have any passengers. Like, definitely felt like during that era, during the times under Fullerton, there was a lot of players. It was just it's like on playing Football Manager. Who's available? Free agent search. Who's available? Like, how much do you cost? Under 200 quid a week?
Yeah.
Go on then. It's like now it seems there's a plan. Everyone who comes in is there to fulfill a role and has to have the right attitude as well. Even the young lads that have been let go by academies. Like, it seems like you can see the media team has done a great job with kind of the after match videos on the pitch. It just seems like a really great atmosphere.
Yeah, and I can tell you that the media team and everyone at the club, they're close with the players as well, which is great to see. But I think I'd have two, and obviously Billy Waters would be one of them. But the other two that I'd pick would be Kieran Green. I don't think he gets enough credit, to be totally honest. I think he's been brilliant since ever he's come in, and he's just getting better and better. And I think he's the type of centre half that you need in a squad. You can have all these flair players, but you need someone like that. Who's hard in the midfield, can win an header and can even get the odd goal as well, like he did against Dagenham. And he wasn't just his goal; he had a phenomenal game as well. So yeah, he deserves a bit of credit. But this is going to be a little odd, but I'm going to give it Martin Woods. I think he deserves a bit of credit, but just that he's such a nice guy. When I met him, he let me, have a picture with him, and he's such a character as well in the changing room, which is great to see. So yeah, I think he deserves a bit of credit as well, and I'm a big fan of him. But we've got a few more in the chat now. I've got an Huddersfield fan who sometimes comes to the games with me, and he's put on, love watching Slew at this year. I think it's
Slew!
yeah, so it's like that. But yeah, what are your opinions on Slew?
I mean, the man's an absolute enigma. To me, he's a very rare thing he's a very rare type of player that we get down the Shay, which is like a cult hero. I think possibly the last player we'd have had down Shay that got a similar reaction was Gus Ullenbeek.
Yeah.
They're just it's hard to put your finger on what makes them cult heroes, but I don't know, it just seems to be all one dimensional and one pace on pitch, and then all of a sudden it's like in the blink of an eye he's firing in that goal against Notts County, or he's in at the back post to score. You know what I mean? I think he's found a club now where he belongs. Like he's got 4 goals, but then before that he was at like Morecambe and he'd been around a bit, and he'd got like 2 or 3 goals in 3 or 4 seasons, and everybody questioned it at the beginning of the year, like, what's he going to bring to the team? He's already got 4 in like 13, 14 appearances. He has started dropping to the bench, and Wild has preferred Jamie Allen last 2. Well, he's named these he's had Allen in there instead of Slew. His hand might be forced now because Allen had to go off injured on Saturday, but I just love Jordan Slew because he's so unpredictable.
I think he's got a lot of natural ability. Like the first goal against Notts County, edge of the box, don't think about it. Smash.
Goals like that, to be fair, doesn't he?
Yeah, but just like it's just on instinct. You just see that's why Blackburn paid over £1 million for him, like not in the not too distant past. And I don't know much about his attitude or why, or injuries, or what happened to have him fall down the leagues. But it's similar with Billy Waters. It's on paper, when you look at the wiki when they sign, 30 appearances, 4 goals.
They never quite cut out a club, either of them. And I think Pete Wild's got them in a system, like you said, ShaymenStats, where they belong. Billy Waters and Slew, they work well together. Obviously, both haven't scored for a bit now, but it's good to see other players like Vale, obviously, getting in on the score sheet, and Kieran Green. And I'm sure Billy Waters and Slew will get the scoring form again, and hopefully it's against Maidenhead. So I think without further ado, so we move on to a bit about the FA Cup.
Possibly, I just want to get in another point about the team that we might not have addressed or haven't really noticed, as well as all these like quick players, skillful players. Just in the background, Matty Stenson's starting to come back to fitness. Dermot Donner's getting a bit fitter. So we're going to have the option, hopefully very, very soon, where if we need to change it, we can put on a striker that's 6 foot plus if we need to properly change it up. But McDonough's not been on the bench for the past couple of games. Obviously, Stenson's been out for ages, but it's just working away in background, under the radar sort of thing. A bit like our whole club at the minute. We're a bit under the radar. They're sort of just working away in background. Do you know what I mean? I think they could become absolute assets in this second half of the season if they get the fitness there, if they get the fitness right.
He was someone that Pete Wild was desperate to bring in the first place. And to be honest, I don't think there's been one player Pete Wild's brought in where I thought he's not good enough for the club. I think every single player he's brought in has always been, good enough.
Built on every player every year as well. We haven't missed. I don't think we've missed any player that's left. We haven't missed Jeff King this year. No. We aren't really missing Earing. He's always the players that have come in that have replaced the others have stepped it up a level every time. Every pre-season's been like crisis, and every time the season's kicked off, we've been fine.
I think he's changing the system, isn't he, every year as well. Like last year, it was about the attacking fullbacks, wasn't it? Where this year it's about the counter-attack. And I think he's bringing players in that are a bit under the radar, but have something to prove, like Jordan Slew, obviously, being worth £1 million. Obviously, he's not really fulfilled his potential in that way, but he's starting to now at Halifax. Billy Waters, obviously, never really cut out at Torquay. Torquay fans liked him, but he never really, got into double digits. Obviously, missed that penalty in the final against Hartlepool, which ended up costing him in the end. And other players like Warburton, obviously Warburton's always had potential. He's had a few good spells at like Salford and Stockport, but he's never really like filled out at like your Northamptons in the Football League. So he's come to us, and I think the players that he's bringing in, the players and the characters, and they want something to prove. And I think Halifax gives them that platform in a way. And like you said, when Stenson comes back, I think he's a target man. So that offers something different in a way, because if there was one position that I think we are missing, it's a target man that's going to get you 20 goals a season. What are your thoughts on that?
Are you asking? Sorry, were you asking me?
Yeah.
I mean, the likes of Stenson and Jerry McDonough were very much what I imagined Denton and Morgan would have been when Heath brought us back up. I thought it was going to be like a little and large partnership where, I don't know, like Denton would knock it down for Morgan, and Morgan's finishing were sublime at times. And I thought this is really going to work, and it didn't just quite click. But when you've got Waters who just runs for 90 minutes in and around a big man, he will feed off those little bits of scraps that can be won off a larger player. They're definitely options that are just, like I said, they're just going on in the background at the minute, but they're there. They're there if we need. Like we threw Jerry McDonough on against Notts County, and he just put himself around a bit, and he got a yellow card for his troubles, but it gave them another dilemma to deal with.
Yeah, and he makes a little bit of a difference as well, and I think that's something else as well. Like no one's going to snatch Stenson off us, so when injuries do start to kick in, he's another option. Luke, what's your opinion on Stenson coming back to the team?
Yeah, well, have we ever seen him kick a ball to get injured in pre-season?
He got injured like 20 minutes into a game. I think it was it against
Wealdstone at home last season.
Right, yeah, so terribly unlucky. Obviously, he came in with a decent reputation. It's a long time to be out. You're not going to hit the ground running in any way, shape or form, really. You can see him probably going out on loan. Like we don't have a reserves or 23s or anything like that system to get up to speed. You can't just be running around Savile Park trying to get fit for a National League season. So, I can see him going out on loan to a National League North over winter, and then that's what we need. That, as we talked about right at the start of this conversation, a boost of new blood towards the end of the season might be the difference.
I think that obviously will make a difference as well. He's probably going to go on loan. I could see him going on loan. And I think that will do him well in the long run. And I think maybe next season is when we will start to see him properly kick on. I don't think he'll be ready this season to just be firing goals straight away. I don't even know if he'll be playing after Christmas this season, to be totally honest. But
if we lost Waters, we could recall Jamie Cook as well.
Yeah, I think that needs to be mentioned as well.
And scoring.
He's doing brilliantly for Matlock and even FC United. It's funny because I went to watch an FC United game versus Scarborough play, and with my mate, and I was hoping I'm going to get to see Jamie Cook play, but he'd just gone to Matlock at the time, so I didn't get to see him play. But Jamie Cook, he's someone for the future as well, and I think maybe we should try and recall him at some point when injuries do start to kick in. But anyway, I think that more or less wraps it up, and we'll move on to the FA Cup then. So, FA Cup, Maidenhead, not the best draw in the world, but it's an opportunity for us to get into that second round. And then if we win the second round, maybe get a Premier League side, you never know. But what are your opinions on that?
Yeah, I think it's a good draw. I mean, I watched the draw live, and it's a long old draw, the first round draw with 90 odd teams coming out. And I think in the first round, there's only a few ties really that we'd see as a dream, not even a dream tie. Sunderland away, Bradford City. You've got to get really lucky to get a plum draw in the first round. So in lieu of that, what do you want? Probably a team in your own league that's struggling at home. And at the time when it was drawn, Maidenhead were struggling, but I think they have picked it up in the league since then, which adds a bit more spice to it. It's probably going to be on last on Match of the Day FA Cup. No one really cares about Maidenhead Halifax in the FA Cup. So we've got to look at this passage now, especially in retrospect. It was a hard fought game against Pontefract. They absolutely punched way above what they would do on a week to week basis. So that was a lucky draw, and then obviously not a bye, but we're through. I think we should go into it feeling confident on Saturday. And revenge as well for the only defeat we've had at home this season. So that adds a little extra touch to that as well.
We've also got a terrible record against Maidenhead in
overall,
the Cup.
Knocked
us out of the FA Trophy in 2004, and they beat us 4-1 down the Shay. I think that were under Fullerton, 12th of January 2019, I think. So we've got a terrible
I'm not going to
record.
correct you on that. So yeah,
No, it's we do owe Maidenhead this season for that defeat very much. So
definitely.
but in my lifetime, I mean, go on. Sorry.
Just saying, yeah. And second round, I think that there might still be a few non-league teams left, and then something that's never happened in my lifetime even is a big away trip to a Premier League team or a high Championship team. I might ask you both in a minute, like best FA Cup memories so far, and it's hard to think one, but maybe we'll talk about that in a second after what are your thoughts on the game on Saturday?
Obviously, to be honest, I haven't really seen many FA Cups. There's been two that I have seen that are obviously quite big, but I think moving on to Saturday, it's an opportunity for us to try get into the later rounds of the cup, and I think it's an opportunity for us to beat a side in our division that are struggling. I think we need to take advantage of that. But obviously, they have picked up in recent weeks, beating Wrexham, and they beat Woking, didn't they, away? At home on the TV as well, which is good for them. So I think they're a bit of a dark horse this season, Maidenhead in a way.
It's a bit of a crazy match, that Woking match, didn't they? Woking get a player sent off. They were 2-0 up, and it was a bit like the Notts County game that we had, obviously. But I think that might have been a bit of an anomaly. But that's given them that push to then beat Wrexham. That was. So I think there's not a chance that Pete Wells taking anything for granted. So 20 grand plus on the line as well. All the financial problems with COVID and the loans and so on. This is the season to go on a cup run if you can do it. So
I think that as well. I think it's an opportunity to go on a cup run, and obviously it's an opportunity to get a bit of money in the bank if we get in this round, and then obviously we get a big team. Obviously Stockport, Bolton, and to be honest, I'm quite interested to see that on Match of the Day if it's on, because Stockport, they've sold out 5,000 away at Bolton. That's pretty impressive, even for us, to be so close to each other. But Stockport, Bolton, that's going to be some hell of a game. Will you two be watching that?
Yeah. I mean, that's the tie of the round on paper, easily. Sheffield Wednesday, if we're talking to big teams, they're on the Sunday. They're at home to Plymouth, who are doing pretty well. I think the top of League Two or top of League One, Plymouth. But I'll definitely be watching it. In terms of my own FA Cup memories, it's a bit like what Luke's just said. I mean, I'm 33 and it's happened in my lifetime, but I've never personally seen us get to the third round. Best draw I've seen, we drew with Stoke when we were in the Football League 20 years ago. We took it to a replay at the new, at the time, Britannia Stadium.
We were very good attendance as well, like something ridiculous.
Not for Stoke. I can't just remember what Stoke got at their ground. We pulled in about 4,000, and I think Stoke brought about 1,000. And this were in the days where Town was starting to drop well below 2,000 towards nearer 1,000 because we were rubbish that season. We got relegated 20 years ago. The winner of that tie would have got Everton at home. That's sort of the most glamorous draw I've seen. When we made the second round replay again against Eastleigh, who would we have got? Brentford away. They wouldn't have been bothered. It'd have been a championship team, and there'd have been like 4,000 or 5,000 there, and we'd have probably took nearly 1,000. So the FA Cup's been very, very, very kind to FC Halifax Town since 2008. I mean, we've been on telly almost every time we've got to the first round. Charlton, Bradford, MK Dons, etc. It's been very good to us for the last decade or so.
There's one thing, though. I don't think we have actually done too well in the FA Cup in that history, because when you're in the Football League, we've never, not even to get to the third round in the Football League, it's not too impressive, even if League One, League Two. But obviously there was that Man City game. Now, none of us were alive then, but I'm sure you both know a lot about that game because it's such a big game in our history. Obviously, beating Man City at home 1-0 with Paul Hendry's goal. Would you like to see that again? Not in them conditions, though, because I don't think you get them conditions nowadays. But would you like to see Halifax versus Manchester City at the Shay?
I'd love those conditions again. I think that'd be the only way we'd manage to stop Grealish on Mahrez and De Bruyne falling over, getting stuck in a pile of mud or something. But
my dream third round tie would be away at Tottenham, just so we could go to their new ground. I think it'd just be. I mean, we all went down to MK Dons in 2013, and I was like, "This is the best ground I'll ever see Halifax Town play at." And then obviously Wembley come around in 2016. So it'd be lovely to get somebody like Tottenham or Man United away. One of the big teams basically. But I mean, we're in the first round at home to Maidenhead. We've just got to.
Yeah, I think
we've dissected. We've just got to discuss that. There's no point getting too carried away. Under Pete Wild, though, if this is one black mark against him, actually, just coming to mind, in each of his 3 seasons, we've gone out at that first hurdle. We lost to Harrogate.
Yeah,
we lost
South Shields last year, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that's right.
COVID affected, I think, wasn't it? That was the kind of excuse last year.
Yeah, we went out to South Shields, we went out to Harrogate. So this is his 3rd. So hopefully it'll be 3rd time lucky. But yeah, we've gone out of the first hurdle under Pete Wild both times, which is something
contrary to the narrative around Pete Wild was obviously his big win was at Craven Cottage, wasn't it? When he took Oldham there as caretaker and won at Fulham. So yeah, this is his chance really. Just thinking about something ShaymenStats mentioned there. I think the Charlton FA Cup game, which again this was probably a couple of years before you started going down full time, Luke. That was a huge moment in the club. I think that was putting us back on the map. Even if it was just that one Sunday afternoon at 12 o'clock, it was the old club's gone, but we're not dead. And we were in the Unibond North, and Charlton was
we were in the Blue Square North, weren't we?
The lowest it was the Tom.
We're in Blue Square North. They were top of League One. It was the hardest draw you could get.
Yeah. And then Tom Baker hit the crossbar with just before half time that would have made it 1-0, and then I think the late goals meant Charlton
Lowe got sent off.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just those little sparks. What the FA Cup's all about. It's just those little sparks, those little moments that can make you're never going. When Halifax are never going to win the FA Cup, but you're just in it for those big games, those big days out.
I think that's what it's about, and I think that's what makes me happy about the FA Cup. It's an opportunity for us, and it's a break from the league. There's not much pressure, I don't think, on the FA Cup where you're bit tense week in, week out, unless it's obviously 1-0 up against Morecambe and you're hoping to try keep so you can get Wimbledon. But yeah, I think if there were 2 games that I remember personally that I feel have been the best games I've seen at Halifax. At Bradford City at home, I slightly remember that. Obviously that was on the TV, and in obviously we lost 2-1, but the attendance there were these many Bradford fans as Halifax fans. Sorry, there.
Not at all. No.
Halifax fans.
North stand was open, and it was a couple, 1,000 or so maybe. But yeah, when Maynard scored after 5 minutes, I think in that game, that was that was great.
Yeah.
We should have been 3-0 up at half time and weren't. And they come out, brought on Billy Key, or he set both goals up.
Yeah, Billy Key. Yeah.
Numbers were over 8,000. I think we're 8,069 to be precise. So I think Bradford brought 3,500 because they sold out their away allocation. So that left us with just under 5,000. So now we were outnumbered. Closest town have been closest to being outnumbered in my lifetime were probably Grimsby 2016 when we beat them 4-2 in the league game. There was an attendance of about, I think it was 3,100, and both teams probably had 1,000.
Could they go up that day or something? There was some kind of...
Nah, they were just chasing the playoffs, weren't they?
Yeah.
And we just smashed them in first half 3-0. But yeah, they brought 1,700, and I think there were 1,800 town fans. It was very close.
Yeah, I think that's something that I don't want to see. Is getting outnumbered.
Yeah. Happened regularly in the 80s, apparently.
Pardon?
It happened regularly in the 80s. Apparently, we're in the 4th division, and we shared it with Sheffield United, Burnley, teams like that.
Yeah, I know. But also there were a time at Burnley, weren't they? And there were a game against Burnley, and what happened was to try to get as many fans in as possible. Weren't we put in the away end, and they got their home end? Anything on?
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
And again, Sheffield United. I think Sheffield United were top at that time though, and they beat us 5-1.
Yeah.
I believe we had the audacity to go 1-0 up in that game. Johnny Maynell would be able to tell you as like it were yesterday, if you really wanted to know. But yeah, we'd have teams like Burnley and Sheffield United getting 3 sides of the share because why not at that time? And yeah, we were just in as a way end.
Yeah, and I think that's something that I don't want to see that where we're getting outnumbered. And nowadays we don't usually, because when we are playing a big team, entices all the Shaymen who don't regularly go to the games to, come back and watch us because they want to see such a big game. But yeah, another game that is in my mind that I did quite enjoy. We lost, and it's another game where we probably should have won it in some way in the first half. No, Matty Coslow missed a sitter, but Wimbledon at home. Now, I think you two have a lot bigger experiences, but Wimbledon at home, obviously we lost 3-1. And I think Ryan Sellers scored when we were 3-0 down, but it was too late. But yeah, it was good, decent attendance, I think, as well. I don't think Wimbledon brought too many. I know it's not the biggest game for them.
I think it was a Sunday at 12 o'clock or something ridiculous, wasn't it?
It was an awkward time. Wimbledon have got a soft spot for us because in 1977 we were the first Football League team they ever played.
Yeah.
August 77, it was 3-3 draw at Plough Lane. So I know Wimbledon have got a bit of a soft spot for them, for us. But yeah, Cozzy got the ball on halfway, beat all their team and put it onto the post. And once the ball hit the post, it was a bit like Space Jam. Matty Coslow's talent just left his body after that, and he was never the same player.
Yeah,
it was like his form just dipped from there, but his form peaked there and then just nosedived. I mean, where's Cozzy now? Even is he still at Altrincham?
He's a bit still out. He hasn't since he's left Halifax. There was a lot of potential for him, wasn't there, when he was at Halifax? And
I was so desperate to score for Fylde when he come down to cheer that day and we beat him 4-1. So desperate to score.
I didn't actually attend that game because I was on holiday, but I remember we gave him a right hard time, didn't we?
Binham Williams' goal for 4-1. My life, the season for me just peaked right there when he just smashed it into that top corner for 4-1. Binham Williams.
Good goal. It took a couple of players on him. We've done 20 passes previously, haven't we, before the goal even happened, which were great to see. But yeah, obviously it's a different cup, but the Watney Cup, obviously that World Cup back in the day that happened, but obviously we played Man United, didn't we? Do any of you, obviously you weren't both alive, but do any of you have any details on that game?
It comes up every few months on social media, whether it's just somebody sharing a random picture of it or... We can't go too long without mentioning that we beat Man City or Man United or both. So, yeah, it's not something that'll be easily forgotten, put it that way.
And FC United as well. I like that stat that we're the only club in the world to have beat Man U, Man City.
To beat all three, yeah.
I wonder how long that will be.
Yeah, that's great to see, though. But, obviously a lot's happened in the Watney Cup. What sides have we not played in the 92 ShaymenStats? Is it Arsenal?
I can tell you this because I was speaking to my dad about it. I was speaking to my dad about it yesterday during United-Atalanta game. It's Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Everton, Fleetwood, if you're counting them, because we've sort of swapped places almost. Yeah. And funnily enough, Leicester City is one of them as well.
Yeah. So and they're the only side.
They're the only clubs.
We played Wolves. We played West Ham. Do you have any? Do you know a West Ham game?
It was in either the late 60s or early 70s. We played them in the League Cup at Upton Park, and it was 4-2 to West Ham.
Oh. Yeah, it's great. It's great that we've got that history, though, haven't we? Where we've played most sides in the 92, because a lot of clubs in our league don't. And obviously, we don't get the highest attendances, but we have passionate fans, and we're fans that deserve to be a football league club. If you go not on attendances, but on the passion that we have for the club. And hopefully one day we will get back to the EFL. But yeah, I hadn't actually asked you, what is your best memory of the FA Cup? ShaymenStats first.
Mine is the 09-10 season when we were down in the Evo Stick Division 1 North, the 8th Division, and Aspen had just come in. And we drew Droylsden away, who were top of the Conference North in the second qualifying round. So that was the hardest draw you could get.
Yeah.
Few seasons previous, when we were both in the Blue Square Premier, we played Droylsden away and we lost 1-0 under Chris Wilder. I think we had a player sent off. They won 1-0. It was just like an awful away day experience. So we went back there for the fans. It meant more to the fans. None of the team had played in that previous game, and we beat them 2-0. And Dino scored in the last minute. We had his orange away kit on with the black trim. I'd say that because it got us. We could lay that ghost to rest of Droylsden that we'd lost a couple of years ago, and we beat the hardest team you could. at that round, and it was the season. We got to the fourth qualifying round and we lost 1-0 to Wrexham at the last minute. They shot from about 25, 30 yards in last minute. It just beat Jonathan Hedge at the North Stand.
Yeah.
If
Luke,
gets the first round, it were them. Of any of our teams that didn't get to the first round under the FC Halifax Town era, it was the 09-10 team. They really did deserve a first round tie, and they didn't get one. I mean, Vardy's Town didn't get a first round tie either. We lost to Mansfield.
1-0,
Mansfield. But before I move on to you, Luke, sorry, but is the furthest we've got in the FA Cup, was it against Tottenham? I think. Is that the furthest we've ever got in the FA Cup? Were the old...
Was it fifth round, was it? Testing my knowledge now of 50s, 60s Town history.
Yeah, it's quite a long time ago.
Yeah, to 53, didn't it? Fifth round. I think Town have maybe got to fifth round, definitely fourth round in like the 20s and 30s. I know they beat like First Division Cardiff. That might have been like 1931, something like that. Town have had plenty of cup upsets, and some seasons they've been what have essentially kept the club afloat, even going up to over 100 years ago. Since Halifax Town were formed, it's had financial difficulties from the first season. It's all in Johnny Maynell's complete history book, where he sums up every season. It's always the same. Selling players on the cheap, selling players to Huddersfield and Bradford, etc., etc. You know, we've just been a struggling club ever since we formed.
Yeah. Finally, Luke, what is the biggest game that you've ever seen?
FA Cup wise, I think just what ShaymenStats was saying then, it seems to be a history of just near misses and nearlies, and watching the draw thinking, that could have been us if we'd have got there. So just goes back to what I think we were talking before, the Charlton game, the Bradford game, like just these showpiece games where you can actually kind of enjoy the pre-match, enjoy the week before, enjoy the pre-match. And there's always a chance that you could be the headliner and match of the day. So we've always given ourselves we've never I guess an overall arching thing, when we've got to those big games, we've never absolutely been destroyed. Like the Halifax Town fan, that's pretty much as optimistic and positive as you can be.
Yeah, that's probably
didn't happen. So let's say that my best memories is the ones that are going to happen this year, because
fingers crossed. We've got a great opportunity anyway, and I'm very looking forward to the Stockport Bolton game, if I'm totally honest. But one game that I would like to see, Sheffield Wednesday away. Now, obviously, it's local, but it's not just that. Lee Gregory, I'd like to see him at Sheffield Wednesday versus Halifax, and just hope he doesn't score an hat-trick. He obviously scored last night for him. But I think that more or less sums it up. What are your predictions for Saturday?
2-0 Town.
I think Maidenhead will score. I think 2-1 to Town.
I think it'll be a cracker, and I reckon it's got to be, because it's a bad game advertised, so it's got to be a good game when it actually happens. So I'm going 2-2, Halifax to win on penalties. That's what I.
Who's the lowest team left in the FA Cup? Do we know that? Who's the lowest ranked team left?
I think they're in Pontefract division. I'm not exactly sure. I'll read it. I'll look at it afterwards.
I just wondered if any of you knew off the top of your head, because it's something I haven't really looked into.
You think it might be Yate Town or someone like that?
Oh, it's someone. I think, are they playing like Plymouth or something like that? They've got a good draw. I know. I
think it's Yate Town. Again, this is a weird start. I wish I didn't remember this kind of stuff. So much more useful stuff that could have remembered this week. But I think Yate Town versus Yeovil is the first time two teams with a Y have ever played each other in the FA Cup or something. So it might be that. But just going back to the game on Saturday, like with one loss in 12, 8 clean sheets out of the last 10. Like, if we lose on Saturday, it's just another one of those daggers in the back of what could have been. Because it's come on.
It'd annoy me. I've got to
we can do it this time.
I'd get pretty annoyed, and then Maidenhead go and get Sheffield Wednesday away. Now that would be not a very good early Christmas present.
Cup,
So fingers crossed that doesn't happen. Now, if anyone watching, we've got quite a few watching, so if anybody watching has any FA Cup memories, I'm guessing you're all from the younger generation, but if you do have any FA Cup memories of Halifax Town, please leave them below. I'd love to hear about them. And I think that more or less wraps it up. So, ShaymenStats, Luke, thank you for coming on. You can go follow both of their pages on Twitter. ShaymenStats is also on Instagram. He's on YouTube, Facebook. Most pages out there he's on. Go give him a follow and go give Luke a follow on Twitter as well. Thank you to both of you for coming on once again. And I'll see you next time in our next Talking Shaymen podcast. Thank you.
Cool. Cheers, guys.
Thank you.